Hi guys, welcome to BrightMath. Today we will be solving quadratic equations by using the quadratic formula. This PowerPoint was created by one of my students. So here's the quadratic formula. For ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. What does the discriminant b squared minus 4ac tell you? If the discriminant value is negative, you have two imaginary solutions. If the discriminant value is 0, you have one real solution. If it's positive and a perfect square, you have two real rational solutions. If it's a positive non-perfect square, then you have two real irrational solutions. Here's our first example. Find the number of solutions and the nature of the roots of each quadratic equation. Then solve using the quadratic formula. Here's our equation. 3x squared plus 4x minus 10 equals 0. Notice the colors. A equals 3, b equals 4, and c equals negative 10. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Our answer is 136. It's a positive non-perfect square. That means that the roots or solutions are two reals and they're irrational. Here's our example continued. Solve the quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. A equals 3, b equals 4, and c equals negative 10. When you plug them in to the quadratic formula, your final answer is negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 34 divided by 3. Two real irrational solutions, or roots. Notice we had to break down the square root of 136. It's the square root of 34 times the square root of 4, which was 2 square roots of 34. Then we had to reduce it, and that's how we got our final answer. Example 2. Solve using the quadratic formula. This time we're solving x squared equals 4x plus 12. First, we have to make the quadratic equation equal to 0. X squared minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. Then we label a, b, and c. A equals 1, b equals negative 4, and c equals negative 12. Notice the colors. We plug them into the original quadratic formula, and we get two answers. Before we get our answers, we want to see what the discriminant is. B squared minus 4ac equals 64. 64 is a perfect square. That means our solutions should be two real roots. If we go back to our quadratic formula, we have 4 plus or minus the square root of 64, all divided by 2. We know the square root of 64 is 8. So our two answers are 4 plus 8 divided by 2 and 4 minus 8 divided by 2. So our two solutions are 6 and negative 2. Your teacher might say two roots, 6 and negative 2. Again, two real roots. Example 3. Solve using the quadratic formula. This time, we're solving 2x squared minus x equals negative 3. First, we make the quadratic equation equal to 0. 2x squared minus x plus 3 equals 0. A equals 2, b equals 1, and c equals 3. Then we plug it in to our discriminant. Notice the box below. B squared minus 4ac equals negative 23. What does that mean? It's negative. That means we have two imaginary solutions. When we plug a, b, and c into our quadratic formula, we get negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 23 divided by 4. We don't know the square root of negative 23. It is imaginary. So we write I square root 23. So our final solutions are negative 1 plus or minus I times the square root of 23, all divided by 4. Well, thanks for joining us today. Come back and visit us again at BrightMath.